We're back. We're still chapter 1, section 5b. You can imagine how powerful and countercultural the Shama would have been in the ancient world, wherever surrounding tribe and empire worshipped a pantheon of gods of sun and moon, gods of war and harvest, of fertility and death, in a world teeming with idols and competing spiritual forces. Israel was called to stand apart and declare something radically different. The Lord our God is the Lord. The Lord our God, the Lord is one. That single sentence wasn't just theology, it was resistance. It was a daily reminder, spoken morning and night, that their God was not one among many, but the one above all. In a culture where people feared dozens of deities and performed rituals to appease each and every one, Israel's children grew up hearing that there is one sovereign, almighty, and personal God who created the heavens and earth, and he alone is worthy of trust, obedience, and love. This shift from many gods to one God introduced the possibility of a unified moral order, a law grounded not in tribal customs or divine whim, but in the nature of a righteous and personal creator. The Ten Commandments were not merely religious edicts, but they were moral declarations that applied to everyone, everywhere, because they came from a universal God. A.W. Tozer, in The Knowledge of the Holy, wrote, "The decline of the knowledge of the holy has brought on troubles. With the concept of God is lost, the sense of moral obligation is also lost. Monotheism bound morality to ontology, which what is right is not what the strongest God demands, but what reflects the unchanging character of the one true God. This is the great breakthrough of biblical faith. Moral truth is not negotiated among competing deities, but is revealed by the Creator who made humanity in his image. Furthermore, monotheism provides not only a source of morality, but the possibility of moral relationships. In polytheism, the gods are powerful but untrustworthy. Worship becomes appeasement. However, the God of the Bible is both holy and faithful. His commands are not arbitrary. They are rooted in his goodness and designed for human flourishing. God is not the author of moral laws in the sense that a legislature is the author of the law for the state. They are not mere judgments of God, but expressions of his own nature. This means that the obedience to God is not servility to a cosmic despot, but alignment with the moral fabric of reality itself. In monotheism, morality is no longer a tool of fear or survival. It becomes an invitation into covenant, transformation, and communion with the one who is, by nature, good. In a culture where the lines between good and evil have grown increasingly blurred, monotheistic worldview provides that the necessary anchor for moral clarity. Without belief in a transcendent, unchanging source of goodness, morality becomes a little more than social consciousness or personal preference, easily reshaped by emotion, peer pressure, or cultural trends. The next generation growing up amid moral relativism and digital noise is increasingly untethered from any objective framework that defines what is right, just, or true. Monotheism teaches that goodness is not invented by humans. It is revealed by a God who is himself the measure of all virtue. As the prophet Micah wrote, "He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God." Micah 6:8. This vision of goodness is not a floating ideal. It is grounded in the nature of a righteous and personal God. Absent such grounding, a generation is left to navigate right and wrong with nothing but feelings and hashtags to guide them. When truth is no longer fixed, it becomes politicized, weaponized, and dismissed entirely. A monotheistic world view resists this drift by asserting that there is such a thing as real good and real evil, not because society says so, but because God, the creator of all, has revealed it. This foundation is not restrictive, it is liberating. It gives young people something solid to stand on when the world is shifting beneath them. A society without God is not empty, it is flooded with idols, ideologies, and illusions that promise freedom, but deliver confusion. This historical breakthrough of monotheism was not merely a shift in religious belief, it was a birth of a radically new way of understanding reality, morality, and human dignity. When the ancient Hebrews declared the Lord is one, Deuteronomy 6:4, they shattered the silical fatalism of paganism and introduced the idea that truth is not many but one, that justice is not tribal but universal. From this singular vision of God flowed a singular vision of humanity, made in the image of the Creator and endowed with value, responsibility, and moral agency. The very foundation of the West, its commitment to law, human rights, the dignity of the individual, the value of conscience, and the pursuit of truth, were built on the sturdy framework of biblical monotheism. Strip away the foundation and the moral architect begins to crumble. If the West is to endure not merely economical or politically, but spiritually and morally, it must remember the God who spoke to the world into being and called it good, the God who alone defines justice, truth, and what it means to be a human. The future depends on whether we still believe what the ancient world once discovered, that there is one God, and He created you, He loves you, and He wants to rest with you. Think about what it feels like to walk into a great cathedral, a sacred space like Chartres in France, St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, or the soaring majesty of Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. These are not just buildings, they are theological statements rendered in stone and glass. As you step through their doors, the world's noise begins to face. Your pace slows, your eyes are drawn upward by the pointed arches, vaulted ceilings, and sun-drenched stained glass. Everything about the architecture conspires to lift your soul heavenward. The verticality of these structures is not accidental. It is intentional, metaphysical. These cathedrals are designed to make you feel small in the presence of something immeasurably great. And in doing so, they orientate your heart towards the divine. In contrast, it makes me think of Israel, how you would walk into a room that was crowded, or like at the West Wall, and it was just like it was just you and God there. It's amazing. In contrast, much of modern architect is flat, functional, and spiritually mute. It serves utility, not transcendence. Roger Scruton once wrote, "Beauty is vanishing from our world because we live as though it does not matter." Modern buildings, devoid of ornament or aspiration, reflect a society that has not lost its reverence for the sacred. They are efficient but not edifying. They ask nothing of the soul. But when you enter a place like San Bernadette Catholic Church in Scottsdale, Arizona, even if you're not Catholic, something stirs within you. There, the drama of Christ's life is depicted into the luminous images above, compelling you to look up, literally and spiritually. It reminds you that there is more to life than what is seen at eye level. You are, for a moment, re-centered, re-enchanted. Now imagine the Sabbath as a cathedral in time. It has no marble columns or flying buttresses, but its structure is just as solid, just as enduring. The Sabbath is not a place, but a sanctuary carved out of time itself. Like those magnificent cathedrals, it demands that you stop, that you look up, that you remember who you are in relation to God, to others, and to eternity. While the rest of the week may feel like a blur of tasks, emails, obligations, and noise, the Sabbath stands still like a bell tower in the storm. It is scheduled, predictable, and unwavering. It invites you to dwell, not produce, to rest, not rush, to contemplate, not consume. In a world obsessed with speed and novelty, the Sabbath anchors us in rhythm and ritual. It reorientates our days around what is eternal. Just as a medieval peasant once entered cathedrals to step into the story of redemption depicted in stone and stained glass, so too we enter the Sabbath to step into God's story of creation, liberation, and restoration. It is a weekly act of resistance against the tyranny of the urgent, a recalibration of our humanity towards peace and praise. As Abraham Joshua Haskell so powerfully put it, the Sabbath is not for the sake of the weekday. The weekdays are for the sake of the Sabbath. It is not an interlude, but a climax of living. The Sabbath is not merely a day off. It is not simply a lifestyle hack. It is a holy architect for the soul, a cathedral in time, with the liturgies of rest and windows of joy. It is not made with human hands, but it is not no less beautiful, and perhaps all the more eternal. Ooh, I like that.